to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back once again into Sunday afternoon, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And I don't know about you, but yesterday was beautiful, and I think over a good part of the U.S., I think it was a pretty nice weekend for most of you. I know I corresponded with some people through Facebook, and a lot of people said it was really nice where they were living. Some people said they still had snow and cold, but if it was that way, you can just keep it. I'm sorry, but you can just keep it. I am done with it. Yesterday was beautiful. I had some people over to shoot yesterday, some classes. Absolutely fantastic day. I mean, I think we probably hit 55, 60 degrees, no wind, nothing. Got to spend some quality time out on the range. It was an absolutely fantastic day. I hope you were able to get out and do something exciting. Maybe get out and sling some lead down range. Like I said, it was a great day for that. I'm going to talk about just some of the classes I had. You know, like I normally do. I talk about some of the classes that I've had over the last week. So we had pretty much crappy weather all week. So most of my classes got pushed off until yesterday, and it was a good thing. So I actually had a couple classes. I had one. There was a younger girl showed up. Her grandma actually bought her a gift certificate to come take a class, and she was she was 15 years old. So she wasn't real young, but she's 15 years old. She'd never fired a gun before. And I tell you what, it was great. So we just ran her through kind of a beginner's class, safety, fundamentals. We didn't go anything bigger than like a 22 caliber. Got her on the 22 handgun and, the Taurus TX22. She liked that and got her on a 22 rifle, just kind of so she could get the fundamentals dialed in and learn how to align the sights and use a scope. And it's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to, big kudos out to her and I told her and her mom this, because her mom stuck around and she asked, well, how'd she do? And I told her, I said, man, she paid better attention and was able to do things correctly more quickly than most adults I have that take a class. And I don't know what it is. As adults, we get busy and we get lots of stuff going on, and we might be sitting in class thinking about all the other stuff that we have to do. But she was great, man. She remembered we went over the grip. She practiced it. We went out on the range. I never had to correct her grip once. Never had to correct it once. Absolutely fantastic. And she did great. And I think she's actually excited to come back for more. I know this was like a birthday present or something. I think a birthday present from her grandma to her. And I think I spoke with her grandma. I think her grandma's got more plans to get her more gift certificates and have her come out and shoot some more guns and maybe some more rifles and, even a shotgun type situations, kind of, just get her well-rounded on all the firearms. So I look forward to that. I also had a couple of women show up. They kind of reserved the range to come and do a little practice shooting. They are currently in my advanced women shooting academy, and they took the class from me last year, and they have progressed nicely. And I tell you what, it's absolutely fantastic when I have people that take multiple classes from me, and I get to watch them progress from nothing, from maybe being pretty darn new, pretty brand new, to, understanding the concepts, and not only just understanding the fundamentals like the grip and the sight alignment and sight picture, trigger press, stance, all that stuff. But when they have done them well enough and they're dedicated to practicing them enough that they are able to, they understand the concepts. They understand how everything works together, which is pretty awesome. And when they showed up, I kind of refreshed them on a few things that we're learning this year. They're in the group that's not learning just the basic things that people, the women in that class should know. the basics, and we're teaching them how to adjust the basics, how to get that better grip. Let's learn how to shoot quicker, more accurately, repeatedly, not just stand there and bang, bang, bang. We're going to learn how to speed this up. It's going to take them a little while, but we're really focused on trigger press. We're really focused on fine-tuning their grip. We're really focused on understanding trigger reset. And so they had a lot of fun, and it's great because, when I teach people that, right, when you're doing stuff right and you don't do it all the time, you're gonna wear out. You're gonna feel it in your arms. People don't believe me when I say that. And they get out there, and so they were using some of the stuff that we talked about in class. They're using what I call the nutcracker or the clamshell. They've adjusted their stances. They are learning how to control different sets of muscle groups, right, and get a good combat grip on that gun, a good grip. Learning how to do it properly. Really learning how to mitigate the recoil of their firearm. And they were a little tired. They were here for about an hour, and when they got done, they're like, "Ooh, man, my hands are tired. My forearms are tired." That's the way it should be. That's exactly the way it should be. So we also had a little fun. One of them had actually bought a revolver. She shoots a Sig P365, and the other one was shooting, I believe it was a 9mm EZ. And the one had bought a revolver since last year's class, and she was really excited to get out and shoot it. It's a little Smith & Wesson Airweight 38 Special. And so I think she shot a revolver in the past, but it had been a long time. And so she was excited to shoot this revolver, and she liked it. She actually shot it pretty darn well, probably better than me. They wanted me to shoot the Airweight a little bit, so I grabbed it. And if you're not familiar with the Smith & Wesson Airweights, great little guns. They got a decent trigger on them, but they are so light that, for me anyway, they're so light that, man, it's like a shock when you squeeze that trigger and the gun fires. You take that little shock wave, all that recoil, and for me, it smacks me right in the back of the hand, and it kind of hurts. And for me, it's weird because guns are a very personal item. So when I shoot that gun, it's okay, but it hurts. My wife's got that same exact firearm. She's way smaller than me and not as strong as me, and she can shoot that thing all day and absolutely loves it and doesn't have a problem with it at all. So I don't know, teach their own, but they she enjoyed this lady. She enjoyed that revolver, and we talked about a few different things, and so I think she's going to practice it up. But I'm really excited to see, though, that they are progressing when it comes to this new style of shooting that I'm teaching them. This new variant, right? So I'm pretty excited to see that they're grasping, that they're getting it. And I tell you what, when you teach someone trigger reset, that's one thing. But when you teach them how trigger reset aids in getting a second shot off quicker, and how, if you're doing everything properly, that you can mitigate that recoil. And it's, when you take I hate the phrase, but we're going to say double tap. When you take that double tap shot, right? Take those two shots, bang, bang, and those shots are touching, and the look on their face is like, holy crap, I just did that? I'm like, yep, if you do everything right, that's exactly how it should be, right? They should be nice, tight little quarter-sized groups, and if you're really consistent, those shots are going to be either stacking or at least touching. And that's phenomenal when that happens, and it's like, yeah, we've been working, you've been working for a year, and now we're adding this to it, and this is what happens if you get out and shoot all the time, if you get out and practice and you dry fire. And I know both of these women, they go home and they do their dry fire practice, and they continue to shoot and they continue to train. And not every day, but don't think they dry fire practice every day, but it's probably a few times a week. And I know they're with me shooting at least twice a month. And that's all it takes, right? Practice makes perfect. Develop the muscle memory, and stuff starts to click. Stuff starts to come together. And so that's just a lot of fun. For me as an instructor, I'm not out there shooting with them. I'm out there, helping or watching or whatever. And it's fantastic. It's so satisfying for me to see that, right? I feel like I've achieved something as well. So it's like the next step. You start out, you're standing there and you're just shooting holes in a bullseye target, right? That's it. And that's fun, and it's always kind of fun, but after a while it gets old. So then it's time to mix it up a little bit, and it's time to learn how to get repeated shots off quickly and more accurately. Because that's the way to do it. And you keep upping your game and keep upping your levels of shooting, and it remains interesting. It remains, it becomes intriguing, and I think I can do a little bit better, and I think I can do a little bit more. It's just like if you, and I'm always going to liken this to like going to the gym and working out. At first it's hard. It's always going to be hard because you're always learning something new. But you go when it's hard, and you go, a couple weeks later, and it's a little bit easier, and it just continues to get a little easier and a little easier, and you're lifting more weight, or you're running further, or you're seeing results in the mirror, and that's exactly the way shooting is. That's exactly why you have to go out and train and continue to practice. I had another gentleman come by on Friday, and he brought some of his guns over, and we did a little shooting, and I kind of started talking to him about some of the stuff, and we kind of worked on getting him on the target better, quicker, talking about trigger reset. We did the one drill I always talk about. It's the are your sights aligned is a trigger prepped drill, right? Pretty awesome. Let me explain that to you real quick. So what it is you load your magazine, okay? You take your firearm, you insert the magazine, you rack around, okay? Then you chamber around. Then you take the magazine out. So your gun doesn't have a magazine in it. Now this will only work if your gun does not have a mag safety, which most of them do not. So you've got the magazine out, but you've got a round chambered. You're going to take one shot. You're going to focus on your grip. You're going to focus on your stance. You're going to focus on your trigger press and your trigger reset. This is a good way to learn trigger reset and to pay attention to your sights, right? Because when you are resetting the trigger, you're doing what? You are prepping for the second shot. You are prepping for that second shot. So you want to do what? If you're prepping for the second shot, you also want to make sure your sights are back aligned and on the target. So what I do, like I said, we take the firearm, put the magazine in, you chamber one round, take the magazine out. They take a shot. They take the shot. Bang. And then they keep the gun, they follow through, they keep the gun out there like normal, like we've talked about. Bang. And then I'm standing right there and I say, are your sights aligned? Which means, are your sights aligned and back on the target? Because that's the way they should be. Your focus should be on that. And is your trigger prepped? Trigger prep meaning, did you come out to reset? And I don't allow them, it starts off slow and then it gets a little quick. I don't allow them to look. They keep their finger and they hold that finger right on reset. And then as your trigger prepped, and they say yes, and then I have them dry fire it. And you can tell some of them will miss reset every now and then, like they don't let it come all the way out to reset, so the gun's not going to fire a second round. If it had another round in, it's not going to click. You're not going to hear the dry fire. And some of them, you watch them, they'll go to when you'll say, okay, show me, is your trigger prepped? And you can tell it's not on reset because they got a long pull or their fingers off the trigger type of thing. And that proves to them. So that proves to them that they either did it correctly or they didn't. And you do that over and over and over again, and they learn exactly where that trigger reset is and exactly how to get their sights back on target every single time and prep for that second shot. I tell everyone, if you're in a defensive confrontation, you don't need to unload a magazine into the person. You shoot till the threat is over, till the threat is done, right? Till there is no more threat. And maybe that's one shot, maybe that's two shots, but you always want to be prepared. So you take one shot and those sights, they rear up just a little bit, or you recoil up, and then they drop right back down onto the target, and your trigger is prepped, and you're ready for a second shot if you absolutely have to. And that's why we do this drill, right? Once they master that, and it was funny because they were talking yesterday, and they were like, well, if I'm dry firing and I don't have any live rounds in there and I come out to trigger reset, I can hear the click. Well, when you start doing it quick enough, you are resetting that trigger mid-cycle. You're not going to hear that click anymore. Then you have to start going by feel. And that's what we want to learn to do, is go by feel. And you get quicker and quicker and quicker. It'll start off slow, and then they'll get quicker and quicker and quicker. And then it becomes real fun. And then when they get good at that, and every time are your sights aligned, is your trigger prepped, and the yes, and they prove to you that it is, then you can leave your magazine in and start doing, like double taps, right? You can start doing double taps. And then that's a lot of fun as well, because then it's bang, 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 bang. And then you get to really see where their sights aligned. And hopefully, at this point, they're prepping the trigger correctly, so they're not slapping that trigger. And the shots are going to be a nice, tight pair. That's what you're looking for. And after they get to that point, and then you can, of course, lengthen it out to 3 or 4, right? And then you start talking about how your body likes rhythm, your brain likes rhythm, and you create a rhythm when you shoot. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, or whatever you want to say, and you can start speeding it up. And if you're doing everything correctly, the grip, the stance, the trigger press, the bullets will go where they need to go. The firearm will respond. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want. So it's kind of a really fun way to build. It's not something you're going to do in a day. But and sometimes it's good even after you have worked on it for a while and you get up to a point where you're doing well, you stop and you go back to the basics. You go back to the beginning. Let's one round in there, right? Are your sights aligned? Is your trigger prepped? Are your sights aligned? Is your trigger prepped? You go back to the basics, start it over and make sure you're still dialed in. Because as you go and as you get good and you start moving quicker and quicker and quicker, sometimes things tend to get a little bit sloppy, and you need to slow down and reset and make sure you're still on the right path. So that's what I did over the last few days, and I wanted to go spend a little time out on the range today, but it is rainy and probably 30-mile-an-hour winds, and so I'm not going outside for nothing. So it's just miserable. But next week is supposed to be absolutely beautiful around here. So I'm kind of looking forward to that and get out, spend some more time on the range. Quick update, if you're following TikTok, I've been on and off TikTok for quite a while. I get banned kicked off about every other video, but I'm still gonna. It's kind of fun and they're simple to make, and I'm gonna keep pursuing it. It's really funny though, because I think I mentioned this before. All the educational videos that I make, those are the ones that get taken down. If they're the ones that showing you how to do stuff correctly or safely, or they're educational anyway, those are the ones that get pulled down. So I'm gonna keep moving forward to that till they finally tell me no more. You're off. You're done. We're through with you. And then I'll find some other social media wagon to jump on. Today's show, and I'm already about 20 minutes in, it looks like, but it might be kind of a short and sweet show. It's just me, which is fine. But I've got to get this done because it is actually my dad's birthday today. He's turning the big 71, 72 years old. And we got a bunch of family headed over to their house to celebrate. So I am going to be headed over there shortly. So this might be kind of a shorter podcast, but that's okay because I think you guys are fine not hearing my voice a lot. So I have got 2 more things on the agenda to chat about. One of them is going to have people rolling their eyes and saying, "You wish," whatever. Okay, we'll get to that one. That's for the very end. But I did want to point out, and this was actually, I kind of had seen this a little bit, but this is actually mainly brought to my attention by a listener that goes by the name of James, and he went ahead and pointed this out to me. And what I did is I actually went to TikTok. For those of you that don't like TikTok, I went to TikTok, and I am going to prove to you that there's more on TikTok. Those people have never been on, or just they don't like it, or they've heard about it. There's more on TikTok than just singing and dancing. That's what it started out as. But honestly, you see some of that. You don't see a whole lot of that anymore. It's a lot of this other stuff. But I got this this clip off of TikTok. I can't even speak today. Off of TikTok, talking about that new like, you know, 1 point something trillion dollar omnibus spending bill, and they point out some things. And this was sent to me by James, and I do appreciate him. He's always keeping me in the know. He's always sending me videos, and I do appreciate it. And I watch most of them. I don't always respond to a lot of them because I get stuff sent to me all day long. But we'll go ahead, not by James. James sends me, a handful of stuff, but I get people sending me stuff, and I do like it. Keep sending it. It keeps me in the know. I can't be everywhere at once, so I'll go ahead and play this.
House of Representatives passes gun control to override state Second Amendment sanctuary laws. Do you understand that? The federal government is going to control our gun laws. It's worse than that. I mean, it goes into the ATF is going to be able to deputize local law enforcement to enforce their rules. It is so freaking bad, and I can't get the word out. This is going to go straight to the Senate floor. And if you assume that it is going to fall flat on the Senate floor, you are mistaking. It is buried in the $1.5 trillion bill for relief for Ukraine. You better get your asses over to gunowners.org and start making a stink. This is happening. It's happening right now while we're distracted with all the other bullshit. Who's reporting on this? Have you guys seen anything on it? Nobody's reporting on it because they don't want us to know about it.
So there you go. So that big omnibus spending bill that they just forced through one evening has got a, they always add stuff in there. They always throw stuff in there. And it's buried in this thing, just like they do. They'll put the gun control, they'll put whatever they want in these bills and attach these bills as all this money. We got to keep the government running, and there's all this like Ukraine war relief, whatever it is. Sometimes it's war relief, money you send to other countries. Sometimes it's earthquake relief or whatever it is, right? It's all this humanitarian stuff. And we got to pass it. There's humanitarian stuff in there. So then they attach gun control. They attach taxes. They attach all this stuff that we either aren't going to notice, they hope we don't notice, or we're going to say, well, I don't like that, but we really need to do this, and so it just gets passed through. It's all disguised, right? They stuff it full of all this pork, all this other crap, and this legislation they know won't pass any other way, and then we're kind of stuck with it at that point. So I believe, from what I can tell, I think we have till next week sometime to, get it there, call your senators, let them know. There's so many Republican senators that actually voted on this and voted for this, and it's gun control, man. Think about it. So what happened a year or so back? About a year ago, a lot of these places went and they made what? Second Amendment sanctuaries. A lot of cities did it, a lot of counties did it, a lot of states did it. But now they don't like that, because that in a lot of those sanctuaries said, hey, look, they actually made a list. A lot of these sanctuary areas made a list. Hey, we're not going to allow federal laws, gun control laws. We're not going to allow federal bans on ammo. We're not going to allow all this stuff, right? That's what the sanctuary states, counties, and cities said. Pretty much they told the feds to take a flying leap. That's pretty much what they said. Well, in this bill, they are going to allow, the feds are going to actually come in and like deputize, or the feds, the ATF. So that is the feds, but the ATF is going to come in and be able to deputize different people in like sheriff's offices and stuff like that within your cities, within your counties, within your states, to be ATF agents, to enforce these laws. They're trying to circumvent this. They're trying to get, make it difficult for you to get anything done. They want federal gun control, federal gun laws on everything. They do not want states' rights. They do not want you to be free. They do not want you to have guns or have a Second Amendment, period, at all, because it's game over. They want your firearms. Why do you think, and we talked about this before, why do you think we are, they didn't bully us around like they did in Australia, right? When it came to, they tried to lock us down and put all these like medical mandates on us, and they achieved some, but most they didn't, and they didn't push as hard as they possibly could. Why? Because we have guns. We will rise up. The Second Amendment is enlisted as a way to keep a tyrannical government in check. That's why we have the Second Amendment, and that's why that we didn't go the way of Australia. That's why we haven't gone necessarily the way of Canada, right? Because we have our guns. We cannot give up our Second Amendment. Now, we have to be responsible with them. We need to be smart with them, but we can't give up our Second Amendment. We have to fight for these rights. And it's pretty telling when the only way they can get this kind of crap passed is to hide it in these great big spending bills where hopefully no one sees it. And the woman who did this, and I should have grabbed her name and I didn't, who did this TikTok video, she's right. You're not hearing this reported anywhere. In fact, when James got a hold of me, he's like, man, I saw this, and I figured I needed to get it out to anyone that has any kind of social media influence or anything. I need to get it out to everyone so everyone can hear this and talk about it, and we can try to stop this. We can call our senators and whatnot. And I do appreciate James for thinking that I have that much pull and that I have that much of a social media presence, because it's just little old me over here. I don't know how far I reach. I don't know how far I get. I don't really know who cares. But, I mean, I definitely will talk about it because it's something that we need to pay attention to. We need to stop this. We cannot let them get our firearms. We cannot. And right now, I think they don't have quite the support for the gun control that they thought they did. And so they're desperate. So they're having to shove stuff like this through, and they're, backroom bribes. If you think Republicans are your friend, you are wrong. If you think the Democrats are your friends, you are wrong. I mean, there's probably a few good Republicans out there, but I tell you what, if you get into political office, they get caught up, they get sucked in. They can tell you all the lies they want when you're electing them. But chances are they're going to turn on you. They really will. They get in there, they get corrupt, they get greedy, they get bought out. And currently, here I am talking politics. This is a Second Amendment this is a gun podcast. I like to kind of keep it light, but you can't always keep it light. I look at what's going on locally, even in where I live here in Idaho. And, we got some okay people running, and you do have to get out and you do have to vote, but I'm really struggling this time around on who do I support, because everyone else that I thought I could support, they've ended up screwing me, right? They ended up not being who they say they were. Even right now in Idaho, and I mentioned this before, we have, it's called the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, and I'm not saying they're screwing me, but right now, every year they help push these gun control bills. They help push pro-gun legislation forward. And I've heard absolutely nothing. So now it seems like even unless there's something that they're just going to show up that I don't know about, I've asked around. No one's heard of anything. So even these pro-gun legislation alliances, they're failing me, right? The local one is failing me. There's nothing out there. There's absolutely nothing. So I have a hard time supporting anybody anymore. I'll support someone. I have to, right? But I have a hard time supporting anybody. Even people I know. And it's not that they're bad people, but it's just like, I don't know. There's people I liked before that have changed now. And, they get in or they promise one thing, and then they do something totally different, and I just can't. I have a hard time getting behind anyone. I don't even know what to do anymore. But anyhow, check that out. I will. I posted a little bit of stuff, I think, from GOA, Gun Owners of America. I don't think has it popped up yet? I think it popped up yesterday. I schedule all my social media posts unless something big and important jumps out at me like last minute, and then I'll post it immediately. And so, but I believe I posted this one because it was important. I posted it on Saturday, so yesterday, I believe. But I'll keep posting more stuff as I hear more stuff. And thank you, James, for sharing stuff with me. And for all those that send me stuff or message me, ask me questions or point stuff out or even make corrections. I do appreciate it. I'm one person over here, and I get a little bogged down sometimes, and I miss stuff. It's just kind of what I do. And to be honest with you, sometimes I just have to take a break. But okay. Got to loosen it up here. We got to talk about something I'm pretty excited about. but I've been excited about it for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. So there's a gentleman out there. He's a big name in the gun world. You may know him, right? I'm surprised if you don't, but you may know his name is Rob Pincus. He runs he's a big trainer, and he's out of Colorado. He's a big training. He runs like the Personal Defense Network and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. He's a good guy, and he's tried to expand. Right now, he's doing a big push on, he's got a 3D printer, and he's manufacturing guns and whatnot. But he actually joined up with another group, and I think he's part of it. He's in on it, and it's called a company called Avidity Arms. And for years, I haven't heard anything about it for a couple of years, but for a while, they kept talking about the PD10, and it was this perfect gun. It was going to be this gun. It was like perfect size, easy to conceal carry, appendix carries. I think the market that they were kind of going for. It looked absolutely fantastic. It was going to be affordable, and he manufactured a handful of them, and they were testing them, and I'm not sure what happened, but it went away. It disappeared. And I wanted one of these PD10s. In fact, I followed it so much. I don't care if it would have come out and it was just like a high point. I wanted it so much, and I talked about it so much. I was like going to be like forced to buy one of these. And but I was looking forward to it. Honestly, it looked like it was going to be a good quality gun. And so I went down to my local gun store, and they said, "Hey, look, it's on here. You can't order it yet, but it says coming soon." And it probably still says coming soon. I don't know what happened. I think they just decided to pull the plug on it. So a couple years later, and I just saw some stuff pop up on Facebook. And it was with Rob Pincus, and he was like with the factory or some people that were part of Avidity Arms, and they keep hinting around to something. And of course, I kind of I won't say lost interest, but it kind of fell off my radar when they put the PD10 out. And I found a video that came out about 10 months ago, like during the lockdown, where they had actually unveiled the new model, so the PD11, and it had a brand new slide configuration attached to the old frame, the old mold, and now he's starting to plug this gun again. And I want to say it's probably the PD11. And I'm pretty interested by this. I'm pretty excited by it. Fingers crossed it actually makes it to production, because I sure would love to buy one of these and check it out. And I was hardcore behind the PD10, and all the guys here on the podcast, even the guys that you do not hear anymore. This PD10 they were talking about this PD10 the time that like Dean, I don't know if you guys remember Dean, the time that Dean used to be on the podcast. Dean hasn't been on the podcast in probably a couple years. But Dean used to give me a hard time. Mark gave me a hard time. Cajun Cowboy gave me a hard time. And now they're going to give me a hard time about this. But long live the PD10 in its newest, latest, greatest form, which is going to be the PD11. I am looking forward to this. Bring it on. I'm still a fan. So I'm excited to see if this actually makes it to production. And if so, I will be the first one to buy one. And I think I actually told everyone that when the PD10 that I liked it so much, even though I've never even touched it, that I was going to buy 2 of them. I don't know that I'm going to buy 2, but I will buy one PD11 when and if they make it to production and become available on the retail market. So anyhow, I think that's it for today. I have got to get running. I got to get over there, and I got an 8-year-old I got to get in and make sure he gets all ready. We got to head over to my parents' house and a bunch of families down there and celebrate some birthdays. So that's what I got to get done today. Thank you for listening to the podcast, though. And I'm sorry it's such a short one, but I do appreciate all the support. And if you want to support a little bit more, you can go join Patreon. You can sign up. It's like $5 a month. You get some extra videos. I just posted a video on there today speaking about the OODA loop. So go on there and check that out. And if you're a member, check that out. If not, you can join the Patreon. I'll leave a link on how to sign up in the show notes. Check that out. If you can't afford that, I get it, man. That's like a gallon of gas, right? That's a gallon of gas. So I get it. Maybe I need to lower that price. I probably won't, but that's a gallon of gas. I get it. So if you can't afford that, I understand. the best thing, one of the other next best things you can do is, I do appreciate your support, but you can share this on the social media. You can share the podcast on your social media, share it with all your friends. We've got quite a few listeners. We've been holding pretty stagnant. I'll be honest. We've been holding pretty stagnant with the listeners, with the subscribers. And maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just freaking boring and like no one new wants to sign up. And I don't know. Maybe a quarter of the subscribers don't actually listen. It just automatically, since they've subscribed, it just automatically like downloads to their phone now. I don't know how that works. But anyhow, if I can get some more subscriptions, I'd love to see those numbers go up. That would be absolutely fantastic. Come on, people. I'm looking for a Spotify contract. Actually, I'm not. I'm not even near those numbers. Not sure if I'd take, I don't know. I'm not sure I'd take one anyway. I've seen the problem that Rogan has gotten in, but the trouble Rogan's had. But you offer me enough money, this old boy over here might cave a little. So let's get me up to a Spotify contract. Get me up to a Spotify numbers. That's what I want. I want to interest Spotify in our podcast, and I'm counting on you. So share this podcast on all your social media. Share it with your family, your friends. Grab their phones, look us up, and hit subscribe for them. They don't even have to know. They get up and leave, just grab their phone. It was Patriot Defense Podcast, subscribe, put their phone down. It doesn't matter to me. I would appreciate it. If you got any comments or questions, you can call or text area code 620-794-6223. It's area code 620-794-6223. I'll say hi. I'll talk. I'll hear you out. Maybe you don't like the show. Maybe you don't like me. I'll hear you out. I may not agree, but I'll hear you out. Maybe you got a story. Maybe you just want to say hi and let me know where you're from. I haven't had anyone get a hold of me for a long time and say, hey, man, I love the podcast, or hey, they've said I love the podcast, but hey, this is so-and-so, and I'm calling from wherever. This is where I'm from, and great job, or I like or I don't like. I haven't got one of those for quite a while, so text me. Make my phone light up. I'm bored. I'm lonely. I don't have a lot of friends. So I want to hear my phone. I want to look at my phone notifications in a few days and go, whoa, I'm getting a lot of texts from people I don't know. Okay, that's what I'd like to see. So go for that, and I've got a class coming up this next Saturday, so I'll get on the podcast. It's probably going to be on Sunday, and one of these days we'll get all the guys back in here as well. Usually they like to wait till it warms up so I can get everyone out to shoot, and then everyone jumps on the podcast after that. So we will. The weather has not been working out well for that as of late, but we will get on that. Until then, you guys have a great and safe week. Talk to you later. Bye.